What's up, gamers? It's Gamin Thunder, and today we're going over one of my favorite anime game series, and we're talking about the SAO game series. And so I hope you guys are ready, and you got your Ragu Rabbit stew, because we're about to journey through Einkrad and Alfheim, GGO, Underworld, everywhere of the whole SAO series. And so, without further ado, the Sword Art Online anime series has always been one of my favorite anime, and when they come out with the Sword Art Online game series, you already know that I had to play as many of these as I can get. And even though that I haven't collected the whole series of SAO games, since some of the consoles I have aren't compatible with the games, I never stopped at playing some of my favorite games from the SAO series that I'm going to be talking about today. The games we're going to be talking about are the ones that we have on Xbox and on Nintendo Switch, and we're going to be going over each order of how these things came to be, and why they're my favorites. Sword Art Online Hololization, you go back to the very origins of Einkrad, or as it's called before, Einground, as you experience SAO, but as it was originally supposed to be designed, and before the whole SAO incident happened. Now, when you come across a new feature, as you see NPCs, and as real people itself. So you enter a familiar world, but it's also different as you discover the original and origin of Einkrad itself. You team up with your fellow SEO survivors and all sorts of friends, journey against different monsters, and clashing against all sorts of challenges ahead, and solving the mysteries of all sorts of different trivial pursuits, and team up well with all sorts of skills to unleash massive attacks and teamwork skills, where you're gonna have to understand that this game just becomes something that you need to save, something that's even more important, and even forge new bonds with all sorts of players. So this game, it has a really great story, and this game you will never want to mess with anything, especially with Kirito when he realizes that it's time to go back to where it all started. The bosses in Hololization are pretty mellow, but if you're looking for a challenge, just keep progressing the game, and it gets even more challenging, where you not only have to defeat some of the bad guys, you also have to be able to take down the boss from each floor. And trust me, and strategy is gonna be a key part of this, because you can't just go in there slashing everything, and you gotta find weak points, and also find perfect teammates with the right statue abilities and skills be able to keep up with you and be able to take down some serious damage. So even though that I don't have it on the PlayStation or the Xbox, it's still cool that I'm able to play SAO on my Switch, and it seems like the best way and the most on the easiest way for me to play SAO on the go. I really found Hololization a good way to start everything off, especially if you're starting with an SEO game series, and so we actually understand the high depth and definitions of what it takes to be a swordsman in Einkrad, or Eingraud in this situation, as you experience Sword Art Origin, and for what it truly was, and then you can actually see for yourself how Einkrad actually came to be. And when you team up with your friends and you forge all sorts of bonds, there's nothing you can't do in this game. Or if you don't have a console that actually plays the game and you want to know the story for yourself, or you just want to speed through the game and want to know the story itself, but you could always just buy the SAO Hololization manga series that you collect, and where it gives you the full lowdown on the whole story in the game and what to expect from it, and let's face it, you get a good experience and a good literacy when you're reading. The next game in the SAO series we have to talk about is Sword Art Online Fatal Bullet, and this game is a real game changer when you're not just fighting with swords, and you're taking a new thing, because if you have Call of Duty experience or Halo experience, you're definitely gonna be in for this, and you're gonna need it when you're facing off against people in Gun Gale Online. This game takes a big twist for the SAO series, as you won't be playing as Kirito in the game, but this is the one of the first games where you're actually able to customize your very own character and play the story as your own. While you will be teaming up with Kirito and friends, and this is where you step out of the shadow and into a persona of your own. When you customize your own character and even get your own personal attendant and who will work by your side and help you conquer all the trials you'll face here in the Phantom Bullet arc. Not to mention that you're gonna have to be quick and easy with everything. Gun Gale Online is a lot different from SAO. But this is where it takes skill, knowledge, and not to mention power. You gotta have experience with both the sword and a gun. So if I were you, you better train your ass off for the Battle of Bullets, and or BOB, because if you're ready and you had to take on everything, you are not ready for this. And because this game is gonna be a life changer, and also, but it's gonna be one that is a banger. So team up with your friends, team up with any allies, and where you can grapple up on targets, get the air on people, and master the power of the bullet. So you guys, you better be ready, for when Sword Art Online Fatal Bullet takes you to a different level. And when you face Death Gun, may God have mercy on your soul. These battles gonna get really insane, and you're really gonna have to have good skills when it's close range, and or using bullets. But for me, I mostly use close range when people get in there. But whenever you're down, you're gonna have to rely heavily on your teammates. So choose wisely, with the teammates you choose in your party, and because you may never know who you can rely on, and even if they're enough to take down any kind of bosses in here. If you think colonization is tough, wait until you get to guns. A cool thing about this game also is that you're actually able to play as your favorite SAO characters and in all sorts of challenge modes so you can challenge against CPUs, other players, and even go on quests. And where you really find out that this game changer is one heck of a changer if you're gonna be going up against bots or even other players. And this is one of the most savage ways of gaming in this series. I'm awesome when it comes to using a sword, as you can imagine, but when you put a gun in my hands, you can obviously expect that this kind of combo is one you never want to cross me with. Pretty much like playing Call of Duty or Halo as it is, and you love anime games, then Fatal Bullet from Sword Art Online, you're definitely gonna get it. And I highly recommend getting the Switch version of it, the complete edition, where you can get all DLCs, all character packs, and all sorts of great stuff here displayed on the back. And so if you love SAO and you love guns, and Fatal Bullet, that's the game for you. The third Sword Art Online game we're going to talk about is one I haven't really played that much, but I still enjoyed Sword Art Online Alicization Licorice. And some people call it Licorice, and some people Licorice. I'm just calling it as it is. This game is really good as it really goes over by the SAO events and SAO Alicization, and as it just has some of your favorite characters, and not to mention your two favorite characters from the SAO Alicization series. When you play this game, you're gonna relive the whole Alicization series, and with an original story boost. Because this game, it's not really canon to the anime, but it is a glorious game to play. And with the power of Kirito, Yujiro, and Alice, you'll travel through the underworld, and as you not only complete the story from Alicization, but uncover some different secrets, and all sorts of daring fights and battles throughout the underworld, and with some expected things, and a new open world where you're able to discover and even customize your own avatar to go around the underworld, slashing all sorts of bad guys, and unleash some major skills. Whether using sword skills or the sacred arts, you're able to team up with people online multiplayer and also with other people so you can even combat all sorts of enemies. And I highly recommend getting some people online. And PlayStation always has some good players on there, and Xbox players, and they're pretty good too. But I always preferred playing on the Switch more. While I didn't really play this game as much, I did make up for it by ranking up my characters to the max. And not to mention unleashing all sorts of great skills. And the story, it was just to die for. But as it said, just keeps reliving the SAO series like never before. I speak from huge experience here when I say this. Don't just rely on combat. Also, want to use some of your sword skills, and also use a lot and I mean a lot of your sacred art skills. They'll save you in the future as you're able to heal yourself, do projectile attacks, and long range attacks, even close corners. And not to mention, switching characters is a big key in this. And especially when in your campaign mode, there's always a bunch of overpowered beasts out there that you have to be ready for. So switching characters between your four, you definitely have to be able to do that. Otherwise, you're not going to be ready to face off any thing, much less the Pontifex. So if I were you, just remember the keys. And have good confidence in yourself. Use all the skills that you have in your palette. And have faith in all your teammates and all your characters. And level all of them up. So you guys got to be ready for anything if you're going to take on the underworld. This game really has some good DLC too. But that sure, you have to pay for it, but the DLC is pretty worth it. Just look at this cutscene, because, whew, is it hot in here, bro? Or is it just asana? Yeah, don't be creeps, guys. I see you in the chat. Even though I haven't played Alsatian Licorice that much, I really enjoyed this game, as it was really good with the anime, and actually lets you play through the story of the anime, with some added twists in there. And not to mention, you have one of the greatest skills in there, but as you're not only just using magic and sword skills, but you're also able to switch to the characters that you can have. But that way, you're able to mix up the fight with all sorts of abilities you have. Whether it's two-handed swords, dual-wielding, katanas, daggers, you name it. And so you're actually going to have to switch a lot of times when you're entering battle. Trust. The fourth game in the SAO series that we're going to be talking about is Sword Art Online Last Recollection. Probably one of the best Sword Art Online games that they came out in 2022. Or was it 2023? It doesn't even matter, because this game was completely insane, and I streamed this baby once, and I was instantly loving this. This story in the SAO game series was a real big and life-changing experience. And as this takes the whole game series to a whole new level of intensity and amazing story-wise. And celebrating SAO's 10th anniversary, and Sword Art Online Last Recollection unleashes some of the craziest boss fights and some of the greatest abilities you can use, and not to mention it has the largest character roster that you can ever expect, as it brings together all sorts of different enemies on the previous SAO games, and some familiar foes from the SAO anime series, such as the one and only Poe, and not to mention Emperor Vecta. And so you gotta believe that this game is gonna be one intense ride for anyone if you're an SAO survivor. Alright, you're gonna need all sorts of reinforcements for this. And but fortunately for you, this game's pulling out the stocks, and as you have some of the craziest, amazing fighters of all the SAO series, and the game series, where it just becomes an intensely immense fight, and where you're not only using all sorts of great magic and sword skills, but you're actually teaming up with the goddesses themselves, or at least some characters who are cosplaying as goddesses. But seriously, guys, this game not only has all sorts of great characters in here, but the combat styles is one that you'll really enjoy. And even has some of your favorite characters from the anime series and the movies and even the manga for themselves, where you're experiencing the fight for your life in the world of Underworld. This SAO game is a real big one that you really have to challenge yourself and actually be able to have all the skills necessary from previous SAO games, and if you want to survive in this one, because this happens to be one of the most intense ones. It even took me so many tries to be able to beat the final boss in this, and I'm telling, no joke, it took me a while to level up enough to actually handle that Emperor Vecta. So if you're me, you're gonna have to make sure that you have proper skills and a lot of great experience playing SAO games like this. Because this game happens to be one of the craziest ones in the entire series. The biggest thing I loved about Sword Art Online Last Recollection was not only the big characters, but also the story plot for there, and all sorts of the battle schematics and everything. And the mechanics was just big, and it was the best way of experiencing SAO before. But like it was just good with the open world roaming, and not to mention the whole battling, and it was really great. Not to mention there's big add-ons on there that you can even add all sorts of weapon skins and everything. And you're even able to challenge yourselves out with all sorts of different battle areas, where you can not only level up, but you can also challenge against other players. And I also did a live stream of this, so if you haven't seen that live stream yet, I'll link it in the description below. The final SAO game we're going to be talking about is the newest one and my favorite one of all time, Sword Art Online Fractured Daydream. And this game introduces some new gimmicks, and where you're not only playing as some of your favorite heroes, but also some of your fallen enemies and allies as you enter a whole battle arena where the past comes back to haunt you. And what I mean by that, you're actually facing off against all sorts of enemies from your past. And the coolest thing about this is that this is the very first canon SAO game. You heard me right, and this game is actually canon to the anime. That's the first time an SAO game was actually canon to the anime. To my knowledge, at least. This game was announced during Nintendo's Direct in February, and where it just goes beyond any SAO game you've ever played before. But as it not only goes through a different virtual world as you travel through all the different game worlds of SAO's series, and team up with some of your most unlikely heroes and villains, and with all sorts of all new great battle schematics and battle style here. But as you can see, you really have to team up with all sorts of different enemies and friends and foes as you face off against some enemies from the past and the present and even the near future. But it even has a way of doing 20 people to play. And not to mention, it's even cross-platform as you face all sorts of different bad guys and bosses from previous floors of Aincrad, and even Alfheim, and even the Underworld. Where you even got all sorts of different abilities from different characters, such as the SAO survivors, as the Underworlders, and even the ALL users who have the ability to fly in the area. You even gotta face off against some of your own enemies as you may be separated and have to work together for the time being. And so if you're wanting to play an SAO as a new game, this game is gonna be a real big game changer for you. As soon as I started playing this game, I knew that it really caught me by surprise. And so I was expecting this to just be one I wouldn't play that much, but I was a fighting machine in there. But you don't understand how much I enjoyed it. Sure, I didn't put that much hours as I would do before, but I managed to get through the game so quickly, and that I've even almost completed the game as we speak. This game happens to be the best one there was, because it combines all sorts of things that you need from previous SAO games and to come here into this one. And strategy, relying on your abilities, and switching characters, and even having the features of using ultimate attacks free at will. But also you gotta be sure that you want to know your timing as well, because timing is key when it comes to these kind of attacks. And plus, there's also the characters when you want to do some free roaming around the area. And like you got to go on the ground, you can use any other character. But if you want to get around fast, and I highly recommend using flying characters like Pontifex, Quinella, and even some ALO avatars in there. One of the big things I love the most about this is the final and ultimates using here, because the animation is just beautiful. And not to mention, all these characters has all sorts of different and unique abilities, and that is really a big hit. And no matter what character you use. Yes, even you can use Yui for this. Now, why I love the SEO series so much, it's not just because of the anime, if you guys are wondering. And if a part of that is part of that, but it's also because of the battles in there. But it's like you're actually reliving the events of the SAO games. Like you're actually reliving some of the canon moments in there, and even some all sorts of twists if you fight as some of your favorite characters, and you even want to adapt that to all sorts of different gameplays. And so you're definitely in for a treat when you play the SAO series, because these games, and it takes VR to another level. And as you can expect, and SAO is a game and that'll always be part of every SAO survivor and otakus. I'm always gonna keep playing the SAO series, and I'm glad for sure that SAO will always continue to adapt. Still waiting for the SAO anime series to keep going though. But who knows? Maybe I might talk about the anime. And yeah, who knows? Would you guys want to see that? I'd love to talk about it soon, but maybe for another video, because this video is long enough as it is. And so you guys can believe that this solo player is going to be ready for the next time there's another SAO game out there. But so let me know in the comments, and have you played an SAO game? And if so, which one's your favorite? And which game would you say I recommend? I honestly recommend playing Sword Art Online Last Recollection. And if you want a platform game, and whenever that comes out on Switch, you know I'll get that for sure. But like if you guys remember, but in some of the videos that I've talked about, Sword Art Online games that are pretty rare to find out for physical copies of Switch. You'll be lucky if you actually get it digital, but for the exact price. But it sometimes gets on sale every now and then. But anyway, guys, you really should play this game. And anyway, thanks for watching this SAO series, and you can believe that there's going to be more SAO games in the near future. And once I get Fractured Daydream on Xbox, you know I'm going to be playing that too, just like I did on Switch. And but if you guys are looking forward to that, be sure to comment, like, subscribe, join my Discord, follow my Instagram, and I'll see you guys later with more SAO from your favorite swordsman. And this is Gamin Thunder, signing out.